Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the Slightly Above Average Ship Review. Since we are reviewing the Japanese Tech Tree Battleship line, I decided to bring you a match in another Tier 5 Japanese premium battleship, the Hyuga, which I have said before in my previous Hyuga video. If Warspite is 1A, as far as the best Tier 5 premium battleships, then Hyuga is 1B, and it really just depends on kind of which one you prefer, what side of the bed you woke up on, or how much stock you put into the pay-to-win button, meaning the main battery reload booster. Here we're on a match, and we are down tier in the Hyuga, and the initial part of the match is going to be very exciting, and I apologize for that, but because we're down tier, I'm playing a bit more cautiously. Now let's talk about the title of this video, Alternate Reality. You would think that because the Hyuga is so very strong in this game, that in real life the Hyuga was out there destroying warships left and right and doing all sorts of stuff. And the problem with video games is that occasionally you will get this happening where, like in a sports game, you'll get a player who, because you change their position or just whatever the scheme is, or maybe, you know, like thinking way back in the day, NCAA football, you've got this player, he had great measurables. The reality is he broke his ankle midway through the first game and never played again or something like that. But he was like wrecking things for the enemy team. When you're playing your friends, he's just beating their ass, and you're like, man, how could this guy have had such a terrible career if he's so good in this game? And that's how I feel about the Hyuga in this game. You know, looking at the history of the Hyuga, it played no role in World War I, considered obsolete at the eve of the Pacific War, played a minor role in the Second Sino-Japanese War. So this ship really didn't do anything operationally in its career. But when you talk about the strongest premium ships at this tier, and you're talking about strong Tier 5 premium battleships, as we get a big punch in on the Bayern, you're pretty much talking about Hyuga Warspite at Tier 5. You know, maybe you could throw in West Virginia because of those big 16-inch guns. But for the most part, when you're talking about the best Tier 5 premium battleship, this ship is in that conversation. Reality, this ship really never did a whole lot. I mean, it's also kind of funny to me that in mid-1942, this ship was rebuilt with a flight deck, replacing the rear pair of gun turrets to operate float planes, but they never used them in combat. So, even crazier than, this ship never really did anything in combat, but here in this game, it's one of the strongest ships in the game. They also quasi-converted it to some type of jerry-rigged plane platform. You know, so maybe there's a version of that coming later on as a Tier 5 premium where you can launch planes and do stuff with people. I don't know. Here we're picking up some cap defendant flags. The enemy pushing kind of hard over here. So I am just going in retreat. I'm pulling out those French battleship tactics to stay alive here. We're shooting the Duke d'Aosta and getting a hit here and there. Fuso and a Bayern still out there. And so we're just trying to look for the best target, which at this time is the Duke D. So I'm continuing to light him up. There we took out a set of his torpedo launchers. And we're just backing up, and I'm not afraid to admit it. All right, really quickly, I don't know if I did this in my last video. Let's go to WoW's builds. Torpedo reduction in the base form, 34%. Sigma of the Hyuga, 1.8. Has a flat 2 fires per minute chance. The overmatch of the armor-piercing shells is 25 millimeters. The arming threshold is 59 millimeters. And yeah, it's got a couple of charges, the main battery reload booster, We just used one. It's got a plane out there, and it's got some heals. That main battery reload booster definitely makes it a ship to contend with, makes it a ship to worry about. Although I do think the Warspite has better AA. I think the Warspite has better secondaries. I think the Warspite might be a little bit better accuracy-wise. Although, I guess if I was really a professional reviewer, I would double-check that, which we're going to try to do right now, so I can tell you the truth, Sigma-wise. And the answer is yes, the Warspite has a Sigma of 2.0. So the Hyuga gets the main battery reload booster in place of the Sigma value. Alright, we've done about 43,000 damage. I'm still waiting for a good target over here, hoping that one of these two ships is brave enough to stick their nose out. The Fuso sticks his nose out and gets wrecked by torpedoes, and we finish him off in what probably could charitably be considered a really bad kill pinch. They also have an Ismail over there that I guess was in stealth mode, or I was too busy looking at other screens to talk about. So we still got the Duca, we've still got the Bayern, we've got a full health Ismail, and I'm going to try to pick off the Duca here with our front two turrets. Ismail not presenting a really good angle. There's still another ship way in the background. We did not get the kill on the Duca. And right now my main concern is the Ismail here. As we hit the back border. God, that is embarrassing. Although that being said, this map is diagonal, so it's really not that bad. Still shooting at the Bayern. Rear turrets first, front turrets last. And we managed to avoid most of that damage from him, although our damage appeared to be mostly overpens. And the Ismail's still not much of a threat, because he can't really get a lot of guns aimed at me. So we are continuing with the out of bounds here. And I am trying to finish off the Bayern instead of going for the closer, more broadside ship, because that's the kind of guy I am. Although that closer, more broadside ship is definitely more of a threat. Although you can see their aim not great, my aim a little bit better. And we got a destroyer over here too. Just what I always hope for. You know, sometimes, folks, it's just luck of the draw. The enemy team pushes to your side of the map. We were going to shoot at the Bayern. We did shoot at the Bayern. One of my teammates finished him off. So it's a reverse kill pinch, I guess you could say. Andrea Doria, the other ship over here, in addition to that destroyer. Alright, so we're starting to throttle up a little bit. Looking at our stat comparison, which I probably did not do last time. Hit points, number one at the tier, Hyuga 60,700. Firing range, Fuso number 1, 16.7. Hyuga number 2, 16.2. Armor piercing damage per minute, Fuso number 1, 262, 286. Hyuga number 2, 253,241. I don't like that stat comparison, so we will switch it to something else. Alright, max AA DPS, number 1 at the tier, California 594. Hyuga is fourth from the bottom at 90. The worst ship is Mackinson at 48. Sea detectability, the Fuso is the most detectable at 14.9. Hyuga, relatively stealthy, 13.8. The lowest is Prinz Eitel Friedrich at 13.4. That's your stat comparison. Alright, we're still shooting. We're shooting at other ships. We got an Andrea Doria, we got an Ismail, we got a Gade, or Gada. I got some hits on the Andrea Doria. Here, I'm going to do a little juke move on the destroyers, you'll see in just a minute. He goes into his own smoke screen, and we are going to turn back. And by turning back, we avoid his torpedoes. And he blew his wad, so that's a mistake on his part. Here I'm using my front turrets and not going into binocular view because I want to see where he's at. And then I see a big fat cream puff out there in the Ryujo. All right, Ismail over here, rear turrets, all three out on the Ismail. You cannot show broadside Ismail. Couple of Citadel hits, kill number 2. Ryujo's still out there, Andrea Doria is still out there, and the destroyer, the Geta, in the smokescreen here. And I'm first having to deal with airplanes. Instead of waiting for the destroyer to pop up like a smart person, I'm shooting at the carrier because I want to get a death strike. And I'm not even paying attention. The destroyer is literally right next to me. Now the Andrea Doria gets finished off, so I don't have to worry about that. My secondaries go off. That's what we like to call a clue. And I figured out, oh yeah, there's the Geta. Duh. And here, I'm not even going to try to shoot at him. I'm not. I was hoping maybe to tail tap him. He's too close to use torpedoes. Anyway, my teammate finished him off, so that was good for me. I can see the carrier player is going to drop here on me, so a bit of advanced tactics. I run into the island, and what that does is prevents the torpedoes from hitting my ship, because all forward motion ceased. So that is an advanced tactic you can use, or you can do it by accident and just claim it was an advanced tactic. I'm not saying that's always the case. In this one, I did run into the island on purpose. All right, I'm not even bothering to launch my fighter plane. Sign of sheer bravado or utter stupidity. All right, there we go. I'll launch it a little bit too late. All right, I'm anticipating this torpedo is going to hit me no matter what. We do shoot down the enemy airplane. We do eat the torpedo. Thankfully, there's no flooding. And so our team, the blue team, is beating the snot out of the red team. The only ship left is Ryujo, and right now he is safely ensconced behind the island. So I'm not going to be able to shoot him. Anyway, I will take this minute to say, although the Hyuga is not as good as the Warspite at long-range combat, it is a very strong battleship. If you need a battleship at Tier 5, highly recommend it. You know, it just depends on what flavor you like a little bit better. There's another Citadel hit. There's a high caliber. There is the Confederate medal, down tier in the Hyuga, able to punch above its own weight with ease, folks. And that's why you should consider it. Although I will say, it really should come down to which commander you have maybe higher ranked up when it comes to choosing between the Warspite and the Hyuga. All right, here we are on the victory screen. Not an especially massive damage total. High caliber medal, Dreadnought medal, Confederate medal. 117,816 total damage. Couple of kills, 3 Citadel hits. We ended up with 293,984 silver and 4274 ship XP and commander XP in the Hyuga. Even down tier, there we are at the top of the board. 3 medals, 2 big kills, 2191 base XP. I recommend the Hyuga. I put in the link to my other video about the Hyuga that I put out right after it was released. That game, better damage. So check those out if you're interested, and thank you for watching my video. Thanks to my new subscriber.